Good evening, everyone. I'm Rick Sodebeer with Love for a Lifetime. I'm an author, a speaker, a dating coach, and a blogger. And tonight we're going to talk about blending families as you get into a relationship. And there can be some difficulties. There can be some great benefits of blending families. I'd like to welcome everybody tonight and thank you for joining in. There again, there's in when we start getting into a relationship and start blending families, we want to take a look at how long we've been. How long have you been dating? You don't want to bring a new mate into the relationship too quickly, and primarily because when you have children involved, or bring your new relation into your family too quickly, because what happens is children, number one, start to develop attachments very quickly, and if it's a relationship that doesn't look like it's going to last for a long time, then they're going to go through a lot of the heartache and of separation and breakup that you go through. So that's the first consideration. Number two, you want to vet your potential mate, and again, make sure it's going to be a relationship that lasts, but make sure there's nothing hidden in the dark deep recesses of their history that could create a problem or danger for your children. Now, when you introduce somebody into the family, and I always recommend waiting at least 6 months, especially to children. Again, for that reason that you want to make sure this is going to be a relationship that lasts. Now, before you introduce them, let's assume you've made that 6-month mark, you want to make sure your children, if they're living in the home, are up to speed. And even if they're adult children, I've seen situations or issues that come up when you don't properly prepare them for your dating life. And what happens is, if you get into a new relationship and bring them home too quickly, you're all in love and head over heels, and you're moving like a rocket ship with your relationship. And your children probably are not going to be moving that quickly. They're going to be looking at somebody who's potentially going to take you away from them, or at least that's the way they can look at it. They're going to your new mate is going to be taking time away from them, whether you're a man or woman. Your children need to know that they're primary in your life. They need to know that you're not going anywhere, that you're not going to abandon them, especially younger children in the middle of a divorce, or after a divorce, and even being widowed. Can look at the loss of one spouse and and that causes the fear of losing a second spouse or a second parent. So just be very, very slow in introducing your children. Make sure you have age-appropriate conversations with them about you dating. One of the things that is important to recognize is that they need to be brought up to speed and can't be left in the dark. If you drop this like a bombshell on them, that you've met somebody, you're going to get married, and they haven't even met the person yet, they can create a lot of problems for your relationship. So again, you have to have age-appropriate conversations, and it may take several conversations to get them to understand what you're feeling, what you're going through, your loneliness, your desire to be in a relationship. They may be looking at your relationship as a disrespecting their late parent. It may be that again, fear of losing you. So there's all these things that need to be taken into consideration. Then when we start talking about children, or when we're dealing with children, um, are there children from both sides of the relationship? And if so, then you have to start planning some events together. And typically, I would recommend doing this outside of the home. You don't want to bring new children into your home, and vice versa, because there's some level of protection. They want to protect their space, and so you don't want to violate that space. So the best place to really introduce children is outside of the home. Let them get used to each other, let them get to know each other a little bit, and then move on from there. As they develop relationships with each other, then it's okay to do things at home. Now, if they're adult children, those things are a little bit different. Although typically it's still a good idea to bring your new mate into the family outside of your home, outside of their homes, if they're living on their own. You just want to have respect for their space. And again, they do need to understand your emotions and your feelings. Uh, they have to understand that you can get lonely too. In spite of they've gone through the loss of a parent, either through divorce or through death, and they want to be assured that you're going to be there for them, and you're not going to disappear. Again, they may also think that you're disrespecting, especially from a widow's standpoint. They may suspect that or interpret your dating as disrespecting their deceased parent. And so there can be some very hard feelings if you start dating without talking to them. And it can take several months, maybe even several years, before they become comfortable with the fact that you're dating and want to have some companionship. Then another aspect that we have to consider is, are all the children in on one side of the family or the other uh, are they from the same parents? Because if you're in a third marriage or a fourth marriage, there can be parents for multiple children. That can become a nightmare, especially around the holidays, when you have to make arrangements for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, who's going where, and who's spending time with whom. Uh, Unless you're very, very open and have a very, very strong relationship with your ex and your ex family, it can be a crazy time when you start introducing that type of relationships. When children have to, one child has to go here, two children have to go there. That's another aspect to take into consideration. The next part of integrating into a family or blending families is, what do you do uh, about the in-laws, ex-in-laws, especially again if children are involved. Ex-in-laws typically want to see their grandchildren, and so there are accommodations there, and that depending on the dynamics of the family, that can create a lot of stress and a lot of problems when you try to bring those people into your household. And don't be fooled. When you're divorced, that doesn't necessarily mean you're getting rid of the ex-in-laws or that extended family. Again, especially if there's younger children, those people are going to be involved with your life, so you have to be prepared. Uh, and the same thing goes on your side. Your family has to be prepared for for your new mate. They have to be accepting of their children, your mate's children. And again, there's going to be in-laws, ex-in-laws, or potentially in-laws. And I've seen situations where a couple was an extremely good match, yet it was the families that tore the relationship apart. The children didn't get along with each other in the blended family. The in-laws and ex-in-laws and all of the extended family were constantly sniping at the new mate, and it was on both sides of the family. And when that happens, it really puts a lot of pressure on the relationship. And you either have to have a very, very strong dynamic relationship to conquer that, or it's going to be a problem. And it will always be a thorn in the side. Another example that I've run across is that uh, the woman's ex was loved by her family, and they would not accept her new mate, her new boyfriend. And in doing that, they split the couple up simply for the fact that this gentleman could not live up to the the love and adoration that her family had for the ex. And so, there are all these dynamics, and so often when we start getting into relationships, we don't take this into consideration. Just because we're in love, we have uh, we're glassy eyed, and just don't pay much attention to the outside world. But when that outside world comes crashing into our world, we can really have some serious issues to deal with. Um, just looking at some notes here. One of the things that's important is, do you have friends in common? And while you're going to ask, what does this have to do with blended families? Well, they can be a big part of the blended family or the extended family. I just look at my situation, and my best friend is I'm actually been uh, figuratively adopted into his family. And so anybody that I meet or anybody that I date must has to garner their approval. And which is great, because as with any relationship, it's always good to have another set of eyes on the relationship, because we become clouded with infatuation and the hormones are raging. And so but even in those circumstances, I don't bring anyone into their lives until I know that the relationship has the potential to last. Now, I see there's a few of you out there, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them in to me. I'd be happy to answer those for you. And we'll move on. And the idea is to get into a relationship that you can minimize the hurdles. And when I say minimize the hurdles, we want to take as many of those things out of the equation as possible. If you're running into family issues with your new mate, or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, you have to take a serious look at, is this relationship strong enough to withstand that kind of pressure? If it's not, then it's probably best to end the relationship and move on. I've seen that happen a number of times, because families can make it hell on you, and children can make it hell on you if they're not in tune with the relationship. So you really have to be treading lightly when you're bringing children into a new relationship, and then starting to deal with family members. Uh, again, if there's any questions out there, I'd love to answer questions. We're talking about blending families in new relationships, and again, this can be very treacherous waters to navigate. So, since I'm not getting any questions, I'd like to wrap up with a couple of things. If you've liked the information tonight, be sure to request a free copy of the 5 biggest mistakes singles make when dating. And to do that, simply go to loveforalifetime.com. That's LUV, the number 4, a lifetime.com. And again, that's a free fulfillment piece. We'll email you the copy. Just go to my website. Go to it's right on the front page, and just register for your free copy of the 5 biggest mistakes singles make when dating. And then while you're there, check out our upcoming events in the Kansas City area. We've got some great things coming up. And then I'd like to announce tonight that we're going to be doing a live webinar. We'll have more information on that posted in the very near future. And then finally, we're now up and running on our e-coaching platform. So that is a new. While I've had it up on the website, we finally got the software to the system to do a great job on the video portion of the e-coaching. So with that said, if you have an interest in e-coaching, that can be a lot more convenient. Or if you've been leery about walking into our office and meeting with us, you can have the convenience of some guidance one-on-one or small groups in an online setting where you don't have to get out of the house, or you can, if timing is inconvenient for you, we can do it right at work. Take an hour on your lunch break, or right after work, sit at your desk or at your kitchen table, and we can have a conference. So anyway, those are some new and exciting things that are coming up and are now available. So again, go to my website to check those out on the events and workshops page. And that is again at loveforalifetime.com, LUV, the number 4, a lifetime.com. That's all for tonight. And we look forward to talking to you again next week. It'll be 7 o'clock, and same bat channel, same bat place. So have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you all soon.